Hey, Amrit,
Morning, Ted.
how are you?
Very good, thank you. Good to have you on the call. Thank you. It's about
Good to see you.
you too. Thanks.
Are you on a cruise ship?
No, I'm just at home. All right, I think we'll get started as it's a couple of minutes after 10 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to How Local Government Can Support a Circular Economy. I'm Amrit Manhas. I'm the Economic Development Officer with the City of Nanaimo. I also chair the Circular Economy Accelerator program. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm joining this call from the traditional territory of the Namaque First Nations, and I encourage you all to share the territories that you're joining this call from. And also, so share that in the chat function, and we are also going to keep monitoring the chat function as we go throughout this webinar, and we'll do our very best to answer any questions. So please feel free to post those questions in chat. And we'll move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. The Circular Economy Accelerator Program is an initiative of the Vancouver Island Coast Economic Developers Association and Synergy Foundation with support from community partners. VICEDA is a coalition of Vancouver Island and coastal community leaders that promote, enhance, and advocate for sustainable community economic development. The Synergy Foundation is a nonprofit out of Victoria. They focus their attention on green business, circular economy, and food security. Next slide, please. Our financial partners in this program are Island Coast Economic Trust, the City of Nanaimo, Sunshine Coast Regional Economic Development Organization, Cowichan Valley Regional District, City of Port Alberni, the Municipality of North Cowichan, City of Campbell River, and Gabriola Island Chamber. Next slide, please. So 16 businesses were supported through this program. And the sectors they represented included construction, manufacturing, tourism, hospitality, aquaculture, food and beverage processing, and more. Each of the businesses' overall circularity was measured by the Synergy Foundation team by using a custom assessment tool that they've developed. On average, businesses were found to have a circularity score of 52%. And this is actually a very good score. Synergy's developed one of the first programs of its kind in Canada to measure circularity. The comprehensive report that they produce relates specifically to the operations and to the processes of each of the businesses. And it identifies immediate, short-term, as well as longer-term actions that those businesses can take to reach full circularity. In this program, cumulatively, 712 circular actions were identified for the participating businesses. And when these actions are completed, that will result in 22,500 plus cubic meters of water conserved, 289 tons of waste diverted, nearly 1,100 tons of GHG emissions reductions. And this is the impact from just 16 small to medium-sized businesses. Imagine the difference we can make as more and more businesses start to take part in this type of program and adopt more sustainable practices. And during this program, we found that the businesses were really open to learning more about the circular economy and integrating circularity into their operations. Many of the businesses shared with us that this program was really instrumental in helping them move from having a circularity aspirations to actually implementing a lot of those actions. So I really want to acknowledge and thank the businesses that participated in this pilot program. They're true leaders in the circularity economy, and they've started a momentum that will continue to build on. And now with that, I will turn it over to Georgia from Synergy Foundation to lead us through her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amrit. My name is Georgia Lavender, and I'm the Director of Program Operations here at Synergy Foundation. And I really had the pleasure of working collaboratively with all the folks at VICEDA on this project. And I'm really grateful to be here today to have the opportunity to speak about the circular economy in this Accelerator program. And kind of, this is the wrap up of our pilot and be able to showcase the opportunities that we were able to identify through this program. Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm joining today from the unceded traditional territory of the Lekwungen people, known today as the Esquimalt and Songhees nations. And as Amrit mentioned earlier, if you haven't already, I encourage you to share where you're joining from in the chat as well. I was looking at the registrant list this morning, and I know we've got a diverse group of folks on the call today. I'd also like to take a minute and introduce my colleagues on the call. I'm joined by Jill Doucette, our Executive Director, and Maddie Best, our Circular Economy Program Coordinator. So thank you both for joining today, and thank you for everybody for taking the time out of your mornings to engage in this event. So this morning, I want to do a little bit of a circular economy 101 and some definitions and kind of create that shared foundational understanding of the circular economy. And then we'll do a bit of an overview of the pilot. And Amrit shared a little bit this morning already of some of the stats and key findings from this program. And then we have one of our business participants joining us today, Tom from Duncan Paving, to share a little bit about their experience in the program. And then we'll have a partner roundtable where we'll get an opportunity to hear from each VICEDA member, kind of the impact that this program has had in their region. And then we have a few kind of closing remarks and to share with you at the end of today. So as we get started and we start to talk about, the circular economy, some of you might be really familiar with this concept already, and for some of you, it might still be a newer concept. So, we all know that we're in a current kind of climate crisis, and we know we're extracting far too many virgin resources from the earth, most of which are destined for pollution at the end of life with our current linear economic model. In fact, in 2022, there's the Circularity Gap report. It's produced annually by the Circle Economy Group out of Europe. And they shared that in 2021, the mass of all human-made things from our pavements, our apartments, phones, all of our clothes, all of that was found to outweigh all living beings and biomass on Earth. So that includes our oceans, our trees, and all of our animals. To me, that's a really staggering number or a staggering fact to sit with. We really know that we need to decouple economic growth and natural resource consumption. So, right now we're really living in a linear economy. And, what this means is we're extracting virgin resources from the earth, we're turning them into new goods before we're shipping them often around the world, creating even more emissions and consuming them, purchasing them for consumption, often only once or for a very short period of time, and then disposing of them when they're no longer of use to us. So we can really see how this model is, it's simply not sustainable. And we're losing a lot of economic value in these materials as well. That's where this circular economy model comes into play. And really, in an equitable circular economy, these resources and manufactured goods are actually designed to remain in the system. This is done through innovation, reuse and repair, redistribution, recondition, and recycling processes, all of which are then powered by renewable energy. So you can see that, as a result of this system, pollution and waste are essentially eliminated. And then we really find these innovations that are created through the circular economy is what is enabling affordable lifestyles and empowering new ventures to create green jobs for the future. So through the Accelerator program, we worked with businesses to identify opportunities to utilize these 5 reentry mechanisms within their businesses to enhance the circularity within their own operations. So really finding ways to integrate this into their existing operations. And when we worked with the businesses, what we were really focusing on was waste, whether that was material waste, energy waste, or water waste. So looking at those kind of three core areas. And as you can see on this diagram here, those kind of three inner loops, the ones that are in green, are a lot smaller. So these are the areas of circularity that we prioritize with businesses first, because these reentry mechanisms are really keeping the goods and materials in circulation and in use at their highest value. As you work your way out in this model, you can see the loop backs are getting bigger. So with reconditioning and recycling, there's major changes required to the goods, and it's a lot more energy intensive. So we really look through these assessments with these businesses and finding opportunities with these businesses as recycling is seen as, the last option. It's the most energy intensive. It requires the most changes to the goods. And it doesn't provide as much value as those inner mechanisms. So really utilizing that as a last resource once all others have been exhausted. So right now, our world is only 7.2% circular. The global circularity is measured annually by Circle Economy out of Europe. And this measurement really means that of all the products and materials and resources in existence, only a small percentage of them are re-entering our economy. Only 7.2% of all of those goods and materials re-enter our economy annually. Nearly 93% of all products and materials are destined for landfill, incineration, or left to break down in our waterways and on land at the end of life. However, we know that by increasing circularity to just 17%, up from that 7.2, we can reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by 39%. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change stated that to limit warming to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels, we need to cut emissions by nearly half by 2030. So the circular economy offers really promising opportunities to get us headed in the right direction. And not only does the circular economy offer significant environmental opportunities, but it's also a really significant economic opportunity. In fact, it's been measured to be a $4.5 trillion opportunity by 2030, and this is in US dollar. So this is really coming from new revenue sources, taking all of this material that was once seen as waste and to have no value and creating value out of those materials, coming from creating local jobs and various funding opportunities, whether that's grants, microloans, low interest financing, and more. So, a lot of great opportunities within the circular economy. And that's one of the things that got us so excited about this project and the opportunity to work with local government and SMEs to really create that vibrant circular ecosystem here on the island. So, in addition to those benefits I just shared, you have reduced emissions. We're keeping the value in materials, extracting less virgin resources, and reducing shipping. You're creating new green jobs, localizing waste management, and creating more of that supply chain resiliency. And, on the island with some of the extreme weather events we've had and the fires and seeing the closure of our highways, we really know the importance of that supply chain resiliency, and the circular economy helps us to foster more and more of that. It's creating new entrepreneurial opportunities and spurring innovation, as well as creating new revenue streams and helping us to meet regional waste targets. And I know a lot of regional districts have been setting their waste targets for 2030 or 2050, and these circular strategies really help us to get there. And I know a lot of communities are also working with other frameworks. Perhaps it's donut economics. And I really like to think of, the circular economy is not another framework to adopt or to work with, but it's something that's providing practical strategies to achieve these broader frameworks. So say with donut economics, you can use these circular strategies to ensure that we're not overshooting that ecological ceiling while still maintaining a strong social foundation within our communities. So you can use those strategies with your existing framework. Some communities are developing their circular economy roadmaps and have kind of focused right in on the circular economy, and that's fantastic as well. So it's really about what works right or what works well for your community, and how it integrates with existing frameworks you might already be using. Again, with the SDGs, a lot of organizations working with the SDGs, and often the circular economy is associated with Goal 12 around responsible consumption and production, but it really relates to all of the SDGs, whether it's an SDG that benefits from circular economy practices, such as Goal 7 with renewable energy, or Goal 8 around good jobs and economic growth. Or perhaps, these strategies are facilitating the uptake of circular practices, such as Goal 17 around partnerships. And, we really saw that as so important through this Accelerator program was the partnerships. You have all of these EDOs coming together to, advance the circular economy and working together collaboratively to advance the circular economy on Vancouver Island, and bringing in business and bringing in nonprofit. So partnerships was so key in this as well. And with that, I kind of want to talk a little bit more to, what are the key drivers and enablers of a circular economy? And this came from an initial report that was done. It's called the Circular North America Report, and I was prepared for Environment and Climate Change Canada. And there's been a lot of talk around these kind of 4 key drivers and enablers within the circular economy community. And they're seen as collaborative partnerships, supportive policy, investment in infrastructure, and innovation. So really seen as these 4 key pillars that to advance the circular economy. And so as we talk through this and have more conversations, I encourage you to see and consider, where do you fit in to support a circular economy? And you likely relate to multiple elements of this. I was at the National Circular Economy Summit last week in Toronto, where we had a lot of conversations around this. And from everyone, there was really this sense of, there's a lot of questions of, well, which one's the most important and what do we need in the next 12 months? And there's really a sense of, we need everything everywhere all at once. We need all of these things to be happening together to create strong circular economy ecosystems. So consider, how can you in your role support these key drivers and enablers? With that overview, I'd like to talk a little bit more about this Circular Accelerator program and give you an overview of what we identified through this pilot program. So as Amrit mentioned, we assessed businesses' circularity using a custom tool that we developed. We were able to collect baseline data for waste, water, energy, and fuel use, and then assess these businesses' performance in 8 different areas of circularity. And this is what was helping us to obtain that overall circularity score that Amrit had mentioned. So with businesses, we were looking at opportunities for elimination and reduction, reuse opportunities, both internal and external reuse. Procurement, a lot of opportunities in procurement, diversion and waste diversion practices, leadership and training, redesign and innovation, and water and energy. And so we had actions within each of these areas that we were working with businesses to help them implement new opportunities. We had 16 businesses participating in this program, and really these businesses are such leaders in the circular economy. This was a brand new program, and they all jumped on board with the opportunity to participate, and they've been really eager to learn more and find ways to engage in the circular economy. So as you can see on the map here, we had a really great diverse spread of businesses across the VICEDA region, and kind of those key sectors being within construction and manufacturing, hospitality, some restaurants and hotels and resorts participating. We had a number of food and beverage processors, from breweries to dairy product processors, and aquaculture, as well as a business in horticulture. So really great to see the diversity of businesses who are interested in participating in this program and having the opportunity to work with all of them. So opportunities that we identified through the report, there was a cumulative 712 circular opportunities identified. We're finding on average for each assessment, we were having about 40 to 50 actions. And these were everything from, low hanging fruit actions that they could implement tomorrow to more capital intensive projects that will require some time and planning. They're really providing these businesses with a, like a 5-year action plan to help them embed circularity into their operations. And they, on average, we were finding a 52% circularity score. And this was based on the number of actions they were already doing when we came on site. So we're excited to see how this changes over the year. We'll be doing check-ins with all of these businesses as well. At the 6-month and 1-year mark to learn more about the actions that they have implemented. So businesses we found were really strong in the areas of reuse, both internal and external. A lot of these businesses are operating in smaller communities or in remote locations. And so being able to be really resource efficient and finding these reuse opportunities for those businesses, that a lot of that was already in place. And sometimes it was coming from more of an economic standpoint, but seeing that relation to you can have significant savings and be making good environmental decisions at the same time. So being able to draw those connections for the businesses as well, but really seeing these businesses as being resource efficient. The most prominent opportunity areas were in water and energy and procurement. And, procurement is seen as one of those tools where we can really drive and accelerate the circular economy as well. And so working with businesses to implement more of a circular lens into their procurement strategies to really enhance that within their business. And we hear more of this conversation around circular procurement strategies at a government level as well, to really drive that within the entrepreneurial community too. So the overall impact of this program, of the suggested actions for those 16 business participants, it really resulted in substantial reductions to their environmental impact. And these metrics here, those were only for the actions that we could measure based on their baseline data. So there might be more savings that will be realized over the course of these businesses' lifespan, depending on what actions they implement. And these are the annual savings. So if they implemented those actions, all of those actions annually, they would see a conservation in water of 22,565 cubic meters of water, the opportunity to divert over 288,000 kilograms of waste, and the opportunity to reduce emissions by nearly 1,100 tons of carbon. So significant opportunities coming from 16 businesses located here on Vancouver Island and on the Sunshine Coast. So before we jump into our first guest speaker, I'd like to do a quick poll with everybody that's on the call. So Maddie's going to get that launched for us now, and want to see, understand, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for advancing circularity in your region? So we've got a few options up here. Do you see it as collaboration between regional governments or collaboration between different government departments? Sometimes, some circular strategy is held in solid waste and some is held in economic development. And how is that, what are those relationships looking? Is it more engagement with businesses or policy levers and incentives? Perhaps improved infrastructure or education and support for entrepreneurs. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to answer this poll, and you should be able to select multiples. Awesome, we'll give it just another 10 seconds here. Great. It looks like we have most of the folks participating. Maddie, if you want to share the results from this poll here. So you can see kind of leading the way here, we've got engagement with businesses. So working with the businesses in the communities, and that's what we were so lucky to be able to do through this program, is really to be able to engage those businesses and help identify opportunities. Collaboration between regional government and between government departments also coming through quite strong, as well as those policy levers and incentives. Quite an even spread among those opportunities. And I think that comes back again to the kind of need all of these pieces happening together to really see this transition at scale. Wonderful. And if you shared other, please pop that into the chat if you think there's other opportunities that should be considered. All right, so I think we can end that poll there. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Tom. He is the Sales and Project Manager for Duncan Paving of OK Industries. They participated in the VICEDA Circular Accelerator program and completed their opportunity assessment earlier this year. So Tom is here to share a bit more about the work that they've done, their experience in the program, and new projects on the horizon. I will stop sharing my screen and we'll pass it over to you, Tom. We'll get you spotlit there.
Thanks very much, Georgia. Much appreciated. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. By way of introduction, my name is Tom Kinnear, and I'm the manager of Duncan Paving. We are situated in just outside of Duncan in the Cowichan Valley here on Vancouver Island. So we are an asphalt and aggregate manufacturer, and we do our business in civil infrastructure. So we do our business mainly in the Cowichan Valley. We tiptoe up to the north as far as Ladysmith, down to around Shawnigan Lake, and out to Renfrew on the west coast. So the type of business we do here, obviously in the civil infrastructure end of things, we have an asphalt plant here where we make and produce, inspect asphalts for laydown. We have a aggregate pit and mine in the back where we extract sand and stone to produce aggregates. Within that plant, within that pit as well, we have a wash plant where we can make and spec wash sands for our asphalt mix designs. We also have a crushing division, so we can extract those aggregates as well as recyclables and crush and produce them into an end product spec aggregate size, be it for either fracture or gradation specifications. As far as our crews come, we not only do we make the asphalt itself, but then we have crews that lay it down as well. So our crews will go and set and install the asphalt on our roadways and highways as we all drive and walk on each day. We also have concrete divisions, so where we lay down curb and gutter, flatwork sidewalks, things around the municipal civil infrastructure works. Ahead of those crews, obviously, we've got grade and preparation crews. So they'd be the crews that work the aggregates before installation of concrete or asphalt is laid down. Also with that, we've got traffic control, safety, admin staff, full operational mechanical shop, a yard absolutely full of equipment to do all the works with, and a fantastic staff to do it all. So we employ about 50 people here in our division. We are a division of OK Industries. So we do have other companies up and down Vancouver Island, like Island Asphalt in Victoria, Taco Paving up in Courtenay, and Haylock Brothers in Parksville. So the works that we do here in the Cowichan Valley are of the commercial, industrial, municipal. We work hand in hand with the local developers, as well as we do ministry work. So for the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, if we're lucky enough to win those bids, we perform those works as well. And we were able actually to do a big project through Duncan last year, where we were able to do some improvements on Highway 18, which is the Cowichan Valley out to the number 1. And then we did the TCH through town, which was great. Some of our partners that we do locally, obviously there's municipal groups that we work with, such as Municipality of North Cowichan, the Cowichan Valley Regional District, the City of Duncan. We also have partnerships with some of the road and highway maintenance companies, so MCON and Main Road. We do a little bit of residential, but our main works are on the broader scope with some of our developers. I had the wonderful opportunity of working with Georgia and her team, and we're able to come by and do an assessment that we gladly took part in. And it was it was interesting. It was I would suggest a educational process for everyone involved, and a wonderful process to go through and see where improvements could be made. Also talking about some of the environmental protocols that we have in place, and what that looks like. And it was interesting because I would suggest that people, when they think of asphalt or paving, it's generally we're those stinky guys that bugger up your morning commute. And I don't think it's necessarily shone in the light of an environmental industry, when in fact the opposite is quite true. So some of the things we do here at Duncan Paving, as far as the environmental actions that are in place, when we recycle asphalt roads, when we mill them up or excavate them, they produce a product that we call RAP, which is a recycled asphalt product. So that is where a road, highway, city street is milled up with our equipment, is then transported back for stockpiling here in the pit. With that RAP product, we have the ability to reintroduce it as a recycled product into new asphalt designs. So right now we have the ability to reintroduce that into designs at about a 5 to 10% portion, which is great news. Another part that we take the recycled asphalt product that comes into our pit. We also take other construction waste from the Cowichan Valley, such as broken concrete, broken asphalt, aggregates, and some organics. The big win on this story, we take those wastes from construction within the valley, and we were able to put it through our crushing equipment, and we were able to make a end product spec product, which we call WGB, or well-graded base. So what this does is it takes old waste from asphalt, concrete, aggregate. It's then recrushed and blended, and based on the fracture and gradation specifications, we are able to meet a in-spec product that meets or exceeds all MMCD specifications. It also meets the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure specifications. So this is a 100% recycled product that can be reintroduced back into the valley for gradations, base preparations, fill, any kind of construction base that you will be, building roads, sidewalks, city streets, everything that we do on. We have the ability to take the construction waste out of the valley, existing roads, sidewalks, curb and gutter, things like this nature, and gravels and aggregates, recycle them, produce a product, and then be able to reintroduce it back into the local construction economy, specifically in civil infrastructure. And it's a 100% recycled product. So it's a big point of pride for us, and one that's well received throughout our partnerships in the valley. And some of the other kind of environmental actions that we do have in place, we have a wash plant for our sand. So in this application, the sands are extracted from our pit in the back. They are then washed to get some of the fines out. So we have a nice, clean, in-spec product to introduce into our asphalt mix designs. From that, we use natural groundwater and rainwater, and we built sediment ponds so that when the finer aggregates are washed through the sand, they are then collected into our settlement ponds. Those sediments do settle. They are then taken out via equipment and stockpiled to dry out, for lack of a better term. And then we introduce those fine particles back into the pit itself as fill. So we're actually backfilling our own use of extraction, which is a incredibly positive practice. The neat thing with the location of our plant and pit where we are is we have Binks Creek, which runs parallel and through our pit. We've got that Binks Creek that goes flows into the Salmonos Creek, which you'll know is on the east side of the Trans-Canada Highway, just a few kilometers away from us. So we have partnerships with the Salmonos Marsh Conservation Society. We do partner with them, we support them, and we've got a great relationship with them. Getting ahead of any sediment getting into Binks Creek, what we've done is we've had engineering firms come in and we've designed a natural filtration course through natural progressively small aggregates. So any sediment will naturally get filtered out before it finds its way back into Binks Creek. And we did some testing on this, and the water is actually cleaner coming out than it is coming in. So there's a win there as well. Some of the other environmental practices and actions that we have in place is mainly our recyclability of our asphalt products. So with the ability to bring in that recycled asphalt product, the wrap, as well as construction wastes from all around the valley, we were able to eliminate last year alone 30,000 metric tons of construction waste that would have possibly gone into landfill. So we take that 30,000 metric tons, process it, stockpile it, and then introduce it into aggregates throughout the different constructions in the valley. We do that on our own works. We also have the ability to supply our partners for it, as well as sell on an FOB rate to other developers, contractors in the area. So all of our, unless specifically asked for, all of our aggregate sales that go out are that of 100% recycled product, which is great. And you look at the circular part of that economy, those aggregates come out of the valley, get recycled in the valley, and get re-implemented back in the valley. So I think of it as the 100-kilometer menu. I don't know if this is the most edible of examples to give, but when we look at our partnership with municipalities, developers, the ministry, et cetera, we are in fact recycling, implementing, and putting right back into constructive practices 100% of our recyclability. And that also cascades beyond our scope and scope of work, because obviously we have the ability to sell this product to other firms, which is great. Some of the other environmental actions we do have in place are just in common practices. So with our crews, when they come out, all of our crews, they come and they muster here each and every day. We then carpool and hop into crew trucks and travel together. So we do our best to, eliminate the carbon footprint as far as transporting our crews to and from. Obviously, we talked about the recyclability of asphalt, how we integrate that back into our mix designs and also producing aggregates. Our water conservation and a keen eye onto, mitigating any kind of contamination is that top of list, top of priority. And I'll be a little bit, I'll say we're doing a good job at it as well. Which is great. Other practices we have, obviously, with our mechanic shops, we do all of our oil recycling for oil changing equipment, things of this nature. Our wash plants and asphalt plants are run on electricity, which is obviously a clean alternative for some of the other ones. Our big bad one is for our carbon we do have a flame, obviously, that burns in our asphalt plant to heat up our aggregate, get them up to operating temperatures to be in spec for laydown. So that is fueled by natural gas and works well with our application. I believe this whole circular accelerator program was brought to our attention by some of our partners at the municipality of North Cowichan, as well as the CVRD, and obviously we got excited about it, looking more into it, and we thought, holy mackerel, I think we might be doing this already. And then with Georgia and her team coming out, we found out that we were, and it was very exciting for me to look into detail how that circular economy does work in this example with us and our partnerships with not only by geography, but municipality as well. So we did had a wonderful tour and great conversations with Georgia and her team with our area. And we kind of did a deep dive on, what can we do better? What are the things that we can implement? it was good eye opener for me because we deal on, I would suggest, a macro level. So, 30,000 metric tons of recycling that's something that we really champion and are proud of. Something that I wasn't proud of that came on for it were things like we don't use recycled paper, or we didn't, sorry, we do now. We didn't use recycled paper in our photocopiers. Things like disposable cups rather than reusable. So the assessment went everything from literally down to the type of paper we're using in a photocopiers all the way up to, massive piles of aggregate outside. And it was quite in depth. And I really need to tip my hat to Georgia and her team for going through this. It was, I wouldn't say I was leery going into it, but I didn't know what I was getting in for. And it was more than a positive experience, all in all. And then feedback out of the assessment was wonderful. So one of the a few of the things that have come out as guidelines were when we put the wrap product back into our asphalt designs at our plant, some of the big problem is moisture that's in the aggregate. So to get that aggregate up to temperature, the water that sits in it obviously creates steam, which is a volume problem. We have to push that steam out so that we can make our asphalt. So some of the recommendations came by that if we were to use things like Quonset huts, pit silos to keep some of the natural rainwater out of our aggregates, specifically wrap, that would significantly increase our decrease our drying time. Decrease in drying time is a point-to-point decrease in natural gas use. Natural gas use for a flame in our dryers and our heaters. So that was a real quick piece of recommendation that came out of this as one. Once again, all the way down through the small stuff, we do have reusable cups now. We do use a recycled paper in our photocopiers. So all that little stuff that can help out, it was really good. Sometimes you get caught looking at the big picture stuff and you miss the details where the devil is, as they say. So if you think about energy, water, and waste, as Georgia alluded to before, great recommendations on how we can reduce our energy consumption via reduce the moisture content into our aggregates before they go back into our asphalt designs in our plant. The water, we went through in depth with what we do for water here, and I would suggest we got some quite good feedback from what is in place now with our wash plant settling ponds, using rainwater for that, as well as the filtration system and our relationship with Bings Creek and the Somenos Marsh Conservation Society. Also, other recommendations that came out were things like, as we're moving into electric vehicles and whatnot down the road, the technology might not be there right now for our equipment, our larger equipment and stuff, but I think there is definitely an opportunity for our pickup trucks, just moving our people around. So looking in that end of things, there's a world of different opportunities there. And then also looking at some of our smaller pieces of equipment that we use around our yard. So things like forklifts, man lifts, some of the smaller pieces of gear are now also coming out with electric opportunities and things of that nature. So we're definitely looking into that, and I brought that attention to our equipment manager as well. And I knew I got the 2-minute warning. You get me talking about asphalt, I can go on and on. I'll keep this tight though. But with some of the other recommendations that had come through for that, once again, the ones that are in place are recycling opportunities that are in place already, as far as oil and whatnot. Brought up a topic of some of the partnerships that we can look forward with locally. So one of the ones that came forward for this for asphalt, as you know, it gets a little sticky. It sticks to everything. Sticks to truck boxes, to our equipment, to our tools, and everything. Traditionally, over the years, diesel fuel was used to keep asphalt from sticking to truck boxes, to equipment, to tools. And that was literally spraying down truck boxes with raw diesel fuel. That obviously isn't practiced anymore. And we've gone to an environmental product called MaxiCream. That being said, what I found out through working with Georgia is there's companies locally that will take food waste oils, clean them, recycle them, make a product. And due to the bituminous and petroleum aspects of it, it can also be released as a release agent in our application. So we're working down the pathway there to see if it's if there's economic feasibility for us to do that, and something that we really want to go forward through. I'll just wrap up with some of the challenges economically and the pros and cons to it. Some of the pro things, the main one I'd like to point out is as how a circular economy can be beneficial economically. So with our partnerships with municipalities, when they come into our pit and they are dropping or dumping construction waste materials, concrete, asphalt, aggregates, things of this nature, with the ones we have partnerships, we don't charge dump fees for. So that's relief to the taxpayer via the municipality. So they are able to dump the products here. We then recycle them, make our NSPEC product, and then reintroduce them back into the local economy, the local infrastructure. So we get savings to the tax dollar by not having dump fees charged to the municipality. The economic benefit for us, we're getting free, I would suggest, material to recycle. And then we recycle that product, and then we reintegrate it back into the local infrastructure. So it's a real simple but good example of how the three phases of economic wins, I would call them, just out of that one example. Some of the things in our industry specifically, and this will be my last point, and then I'll open up to some questions if that works for Georgia. Traditionally, NSPEC ministry jobs, NSPEC MMCD have been real keen to use virgin aggregates throughout all new construction. That comes down to new crushing aggregates, to asphalt designed, on and on and on. I think there is a definite opportunity for MMCD, Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, local municipalities, as well as our developers, to have a keen eye on integrating recyclables into NSPEC products. The technology's there, the materials there, the desires there, the economic benefits are there. We just need, I think it's more of an educational process on a broader scope. There's a lot of smart engineers out there who work really hard at these kind of things. And I believe we're quite close to being able to make that implement and going forward. I'm over time. I will pause there and gladly take on any questions from the group that would like to ask.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. What a fantastic overview. And, after meeting with you, I said, I never thought I could be so excited about asphalt until I met with you and talked to you about all of it. So I hope everybody else is feeling as excited about the opportunities and what's happening in that space as I am. I don't see any questions in the chat right now. I know Cheryl is pointing you to a grant that might be able to assist in some ways, and lots of just positive feedback in the chat. One question that I had in terms of RAP, and we've had some conversations on this, but I know it's come up in other spaces as well, is when we're looking at increasing the percentage of RAP content in specs for roads, sometimes the question maybe comes up is, well, is the recycled content, does it have the same structural integrity as the virgin content? Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, as far as the structural content of it, the wrap itself before it is reintroduced, so it comes off the road, gets stockpiled, but before it's reintroduced into the plant, it is processed and it goes through our crushing equipment and crushing plants. So that's how we can actually get and maintain the fracture count and gradation specs as per specific mix design. So for example, if it's a 12.5 millimeter aggregate base, we can produce that. If it's a 16 millimeter aggregate base, we can produce any size fracture to spec. I think traditionally the big question mark was when it came to the AC or asphalt cement content. When you're taking out old mix designs from willy-nilly roads across the land where you work, it's kind of hard to look at that and tell exactly if it has 3.2% AC in it or 3.8% AC in it. So I think that's been a bit of the concern as far as the NSPEC and how that reacts in a recyclable process. That being said, I've been in the industry for 25 years. The last 20 of it, we have seen that wrap introduced into it. Mainly my experience was on the Lower Mainland. It is feasible. It does work. I know there's been some programs done in conjunction with the city of Richmond where they've used products up to 40% where they've done an actual test, lay down, and then monitored. And it is to this day standing, upholding, and reacting like traditional virgin mixed designs. So the educational process is there, the trials are happening, the testing is happening, the feedback is getting there. So yeah, we were looking forward and excited about introducing a lot more recyclables into or back into our local infrastructure.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really great to see that, you know, that transition is starting to take place and that capacity and awareness building is happening, and seeing more of these projects. It would be great to maybe see a project like that happening on the island or in the valley sometime soon. So thank you so much. I haven't seen any other questions pop up in the chat, but folks, if you do have questions for Tom, please feel free to pop those in the chat. Tom, if you feel comfortable sharing your email in case anybody wants to reach out to you directly about some questions or opportunities, that would be fantastic. And really appreciate you taking the time and like you said, being a little leery, not knowing what to expect with this program, but taking that leap of faith and engaging anyways. I think it just really shows your leadership in this space. So thank you so much.
And a wonderful experience. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for giving me the opportunity to share.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So with that, we're going to move into our VICEDA partner roundtable. So we're going to have an opportunity to hear from each of the participating regions about their experience in this program. And so I'm going to introduce our representatives one at a time and ask you each to share what inspired you to take part in this program. So of course, not all VICEDA members participated. We had really a group of leading communities that wanted to partake in this program and were really the driving force for this coming to life. And so would love to hear what inspired you to take part in this program for your community, and how has it impacted your region or influenced new projects and initiatives. So first, I'd like to invite Amrit, who is the Economic Development Officer for the City of Nanaimo, to share a little bit.
Thank you, Georgia. So we took part in this program because we're concerned about, you know, all the environmental challenges around resource depletion, as well as creating a lot of waste. The city's official community plan got completed last year, and that's really built on the principles of donut economics, which is very consistent with the circular economy. So this project is really a way for us to do, you know, walk the talk, if you will, putting into action what we're preaching in our city plan. So it was a no-brainer from that perspective. It also brings a lot of economic opportunities as well. So not just environmental issues, but it actually provides a lot of economic opportunities in terms of creating new businesses, creating new jobs, and also attracting new investment. And of course, other regions and countries around the world, they are really embracing the circular economy, and we want to be a part of this global movement that is towards a more sustainable future for all of us. And in terms of the impact on our region, we gained a lot of valuable knowledge. You know, you think you know a lot of things, but it was amazing how many new things that we learned through this program in terms of principles and practices and stuff like that, around, you know, reducing waste, recycling materials, and how to create new revenue streams. So that was really important. And really making the business connections, businesses meeting other like-minded businesses, that was really important. And for us, it was really good to learn, like, we know quite a bit about the businesses in our own city, but to learn about the cool businesses in the broader region, that was fantastic. I mean, just listening to, you know, Duncan Paving and what they're doing, that's just phenomenal. So I think that's also an amazing opportunity. And the program also inspired us, you know, to think about new ways of using waste from one business into an input for another business. I think that's really, really cool. And we have a pretty good waste collection and management system in the city of Nanaimo. But I think there are some opportunities for us as well in terms of creating more resource sharing platforms that can help our businesses. So all in all, it's been a fantastic program and we've learned a lot through it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amrit, for sharing about your experience. And I know City of Nanaimo is one of the first communities in Canada to adopt, circular or donut economics into their community and city planning. So really great to see how that's been dovetailing with the circular economy and the work through this Accelerator program. Thank you for sharing. Next, I would like to call on Ted. Ted is the Chief Administrative Officer for the municipality of North Cowichan. Ted, over to you.
Thank you. I'm coming to you from the traditional territory of the Quetzal First Nations, which includes the Cowichan tribes, Halalt First Nations, Laxon First Nations, Penelka tribes, Denamus First Nation, as well as the traditional territory, some of the traditional territory of the Nanaimo First Nations. And thank you for having me. And I'm also here with my fabulous climate change specialist, Jennifer Elcroft. And I'm also going to acknowledge that we have a former counselor in the room, Rosalie Sowry, who's with social planning Cowichan, but was really one of the driving forces behind much of what we're talking about today. And great to see her again. I also want to acknowledge that Tom, I haven't met Tom yet from Duncan Paving, but when I did talk to David Conway, our Director of Engineering, about who we should seek out in the community, he was really a driving force to contact Duncan Paving. But we had the same trepidation that Tom talked about getting into this program. What would we find and who would we contact? And Cheryl McKay, who's here from the Province Ministry of Jobs and Economic and Innovation, Economic Development and Innovation, she was really a great source for us and really brought us to the table. And I just want to acknowledge the great work that she does with us as well. So we have, if you don't know North Cowichan, we're a community with a community of communities. We're a lot of small communities, and small business does drive our economy like many places. Even though we have some large mills, and the mills, we actually are very excited with rolling this out with them and talking to them about it, because there's some exciting synergies that are going to be seen in our mills with the donut economy and circular economy. So North Cowichan did approach this initiative very carefully, as I mentioned, and upon completing much of the background research and the process and participation and deliverables and spinoffs and potential incomes, we really did welcome the opportunity to participate. Council really has embraced donut economy and circular economy. And we have a lot of great businesses in North Cowichan, and we saw this program as an opportunity to demonstrate their leadership and to showcase to council, which is really important, how we can actually show the synergies and the improvements to our partners in the small businesses. This is an increase in importance for local businesses to provide the needed goods and services while reducing waste and emissions. And Duncan Paving, just listening to the results that Tom talked about, I'm amazed at what they were already doing and some of the opportunities that they have. We do, like Nanaimo, have a new official community plan, which advances the principles of low carbon and regenerative economy. We also have a climate action and energy plan, which highlights the opportunities to engage with the commercial and industrial sectors on energy waste and emissions reductions. And just recently, our mayor's task force on the economic development started, and these principles are core to how we'll be partnering not only with Barrie O'Riordan and the economic development in the region, but specifically with our small businesses and how we can support them and attract new businesses in this regard. So the program connects specific needs of the participating businesses with site visits and customized report and leveraging, as we've talked about, and the expertise of others. It also connects businesses with a wider network of expertise, which will help us all move toward goals faster than going alone, while using resources more effectively. We're excited by the results and the opportunity and the enthusiasm that we're seeing demonstrated by North Cowichan's participating businesses. And you all heard that through Tom and Duncan Paving and the results, and with West Coast Prefabs, who also participated. Both of these businesses have many great circular practices in place, and through participation in the program have learned more opportunities. As I mentioned, using innovative practices to reduce waste helps improve their bottom line and minimizes impacts on the local waste infrastructure. North Cowichan looks forward to collaborating on the next steps with these businesses and implementing actions identified in the Circular Economy Accelerator program. As we look around our business community with this lens, we see so many that are practicing circular economy and are certain that the programs like this help us all think of ways to reduce waste and find ways of putting it to productivity. This program has enabled staff to become involved in an important arm of our Vancouver Island economy, and a chance to learn from this group is another positive outcome from the investment. I actually think that survey was really revealing that just getting working with our businesses and knowing what they're doing and talking about attraction and retention has been a great part of how we see this unfolding. So I thank you to the Synergy Foundation and to VICEDA for hosting this showcase event today. And I'll take any questions, but I'm sure if it's technical, I'm gonna have to turn to my awesome staff to help. But thank you, and back to you, Jordan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ted. Really appreciate you sharing more about how this has, played out in your community. And I really love how you're focusing on the importance of small business and how they are really driving the economy within North Cowichan. And it sounds like lots of kind of elements of collaboration and really seeing the importance of that throughout. So thank you for sharing. To keep things rolling, if folks have any questions for any of the VICEDA representatives, please share those in the chat and we can address them there. And with that, I'd like to introduce our next representative. We have Pat, who is the Economic Development Manager for the City of Port Alberni. Pat, over to you to hear a little bit more.
Good morning, and thanks, everybody. So the two questions that were posed, what inspired us, and how has the program impacted the community? So what inspired us, we had done a rural dividend program initiative a number of years ago called the Maximized Value Wood Biomass Eco-Industrial Cluster. And the idea was to get our wood processing industries working with one another so that waste from one company would become the source material for another. So we have always thought that this was the right idea, a right action. And what further inspired us was Synergy's reputation in the circular economy space and the opportunity to collaborate with our VICEDA partners. We've had great results of several other collaborations done with a few of the VICEDA partners, and we wanted to move forward with that. So how has the program impacted the community? I sent Andy and Robin at Dog Mountain Brewing, who were our company that participated in the process. And in fact, I think they were the first of the 16. And when we were searching for a company to take part in this initiative, we talked about the agricultural community, and that led us into our brew pubs. We have 3. I sent all 3 a note, and within 30 seconds, Robin and Andy had replied, "We would love to take part," with an exclamation mark. And I reached out to them this morning and said, "We're doing this, any comments?" And their response was, "I think if you have a business and care about the environment, it's a good thing to have people come in and look at what you are doing and how you can improve it. They can also objectively compare our operation to others like it and show us how we are doing." And we have worked their recommendation into our plans for our new facility as well. So they've bought a building right beside the brew pub, and they're modifying that to be part of the operation. I think the second is that the city bought a 43-acre parcel, former Somas sawmill site. So there's about 20 buildings on the parcel, and most of them are going to come down, and we want to make sure that they will be a part. They will be deconstructed using circular economy principles. So we've asked Synergy and North Island College to work with us on our approach to some of the buildings there. The council's new corporate strategic plan includes this strategy, which is to prioritize sustainable sectors such as, but not limited to, the clean economy, circular economy, and the regenerative and restorative elements of the blue economy. And then lastly, our experience with the whole circular economy initiative led us to stick up our hand to take part in an ocean communities climate change challenge. So that challenge was initiated by the Ocean Startup Project, and we worked with two other communities, Rimouski in Quebec and Yarmouth in Nova Scotia. And between the three of us communities, we developed a series of 16 challenge statements, and 5 of those were under resilient and circular economy coastal communities. And we will be, or the Ocean Startup Project will be announcing the winners of that competition, I believe, later today. And I'm thrilled that at least one of those companies will have responded to the challenge under the resilient and circular economy coastal communities. So that's what's inspired us and keeps us going, and want to do more in this space. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Pat. And thanks for sharing those words from Dog Mountain Brewing. If anybody wants to learn more about the work that Dog Mountain Brewing has done, they actually spoke at our last webinar, and that recording is available on the VICEDA webpage. So definitely recommend checking that out. They're such a great group to work with. And so exciting to hear about all of the amazing work that you're doing in Port Alberni, Pat. Really excited about this SOMAS project and really bringing deconstruction practices into that project, and can't wait to hear about the results from that Oceans Community Climate Challenge, hopefully later this afternoon. Thank you so much for sharing. Next, I'd like to introduce Leah, who is the Economic Development and Tourism Manager with the City of Campbell River. Leah, over to you.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I would like to acknowledge that I am calling from the territory of the Lakwata people of the Wiiwaikai and Wiiwaikam First Nations. The City of Campbell River has been working in the circular economy realm for a little while, but we didn't really realize it. Through the Next Stream Tech competition that we have hosted for 3 years, we have had a number of businesses come through that have gone through the competition and have had the aspects of circular economy within them. Some of those businesses are ones such as Timber Tiles, Supermod, Van Island Ferments, Calmera Natural Walls, and La Presse Soaps. With those businesses, they were all having that information in there. And so we were exposed to it and we were helping mentor, but at the same time, it wasn't formal within using those circular economy principles. When Synergy came up with the program through VICEDA, we recognized right away that we had some businesses that would be perfect for this sort of program, and it could really take their operations to the next level. With that, we put out the call out to some of those businesses, and Supermod, being one of the finalists from last year, decided to participate. We also had Cermat Canada who participated in the Accelerator program. With that, there was lots of fantastic outcomes that came with them. And what we found was although they were able to go into the Accelerator program, there was a real appetite for it for the smaller business community. A number of the businesses decided to apply, but they weren't able to qualify because they didn't have enough staff or they weren't at the right stage. So with that, we decided to bring in Synergy to do a speaker series workshop through the 50th Parallel Entrepreneur Series that we had. With that, we had 12 businesses participate and go through the workshop and really get an intro into what circular economy was. With that, we also videoed it, and it is on our virtual business incubator site, which is techhatchery.ca. And through that, we've had an additional 34 businesses watch that and take in that information. The other thing that we found and how it impacted the region on a smaller scale, we found that a lot of the businesses were very, very interested, but weren't quite there. So what we did is we worked with an offshoot of another program that Synergy does in another realm, which was it was called the Vancouver Island Green Business Collective, but it is now the BC Green Business. And we provided the opportunity for businesses to get certified in that program and in that realm. We have 6 businesses within the city limits who have gone through that program. And the great thing with that is it gives them, again, that intro, that what is green business? What is circular economy? It gets them thinking about it. It gets them that intro point into this realm. And then once they are through that, we then again feed them through to the speaker series that was recorded to give them a little bit more information in bite sizes. And then when they're ready, we then refer them on to Synergy for an accelerator program. So really the impact has been just creating that awareness and creating those touch points for businesses when they're ready to be able to participate and have those conversations. We're also in conversation with the local Chamber of Commerce to help with getting a site up that will allow businesses to kind of post waste that may be coming from their businesses that other people can use to create that circular economy. So that's sort of where we're at to date. And with the tourism realm, we will also be bringing this into practice and encouraging our tourism businesses to participate in the programs as well.
Thank you so much for sharing, Leah. It was great to come up and participate in that speaker series and see businesses, those smaller businesses, like you said, being engaged through the BC Green Business Program. Really excited to see that resource sharing hub go live as well. I think that's just such a great opportunity for communities where it's like, I've got a lot of, what might be a waste stream for one business is really a resource for another. So appreciate the leadership there to help facilitate those connections. Next, I would like to pass to Colin, who is the Executive Director of the Sunshine Coast Regional Economic Development Organization. Colin, over to you.
Thank you, Georgia. Let's see if I can move through this kind of quickly here. I think in terms of what inspired us to participate, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to our colleague and friend, Barry. He was a real leader in this conversation at VICEDA, and it was listening to the work that they've done over in the Cowichan Valley Regional District that got my mind spinning with this and led us into it. And then it was, as has been mentioned already, the tremendous reputation of Synergy. Maybe at a higher level, though, what really inspired it is that you talked about how circular economy maps onto other frameworks and ways of going about economic development, donut economics, the SDGs. I think more importantly, it aligns with some of those fundamental principles that have always driven patterns of consumption and production and the way that we engage in community on this land for millennia. And so this notion that all things are connected is really important, and the opportunity to demonstrate that in action is one of those, again, inspirations for joining. The way that sends a very important signal to business that we're not just thinking about dollars as a dollar is a dollar is a dollar, but rather thinking about purpose and thinking about the creation of community capital. Sometimes just demonstrating that in action lets others build up a trust that you're thinking about economic development in ways that are appropriate and forward thinking. And then partnership and regional collaboration is always important. And so the opportunity to work with our partners across the region and across the water is always something that we welcome. In terms of things that it has impacted in our region, lessons learned, always a useful reminder that big ideas can start in small numbers. And so we can put ideas like that out there. And if you only get a couple applicants, hey, starting with one is terrific. And so big change will come from that. But you get attracted to these big ideas. A couple businesses is a great place to start. It did, though, daylight a number of terrific entrepreneurs in our community across our region who reached out saying, yeah, I've been wondering about that, or we have elements of that in our business. Could we talk more? And any opportunity, again, to put that signal out and get a response is terrific. Not only do we get that from the business community and entrepreneurs, but we got that through government. Our organization works on behalf of 4 local governments. And it led to a number of new relationships in different staff departments. Folks who said, this might not be in our plan right now. I might not have this as part of my work plan, but I love this. How can we work together more on it? Or I'm going to keep this in mind for the next opportunity that I can push it forward. And then, treating this, and I think Amrit mentioned earlier, but as a frame for assessing development opportunities. Again, when we're thinking about doing an investment attraction, for example, looking at those who want to come in and develop a really finite resource of commercial industrial land that we have here, we can talk to them about, tell us how circularity shows up in the business that you're proposing. And so having these things in place is meaningful, and it's been an absolutely terrific experience. And so big thanks to everyone on the call for being here today, but to the team at Synergy for leading it through, the businesses for participating, and for my colleagues nudging me into doing the right thing. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Colin. Really great to have the opportunity to engage businesses on the Sunshine Coast, and really exciting to hear how that's now being integrated into other work plans. And I really like how you touched on, people were like, oh, I'm interested. I want to learn more, but I'm maybe not quite ready to dive in. And so I think it's really taking these foundational learnings and being able to share that with the broader community, like you said, so we can take those big ideas, distill them down into action, and then attract other and engage other participants to really create that broader change. So thank you for really being a champion of this in your community. The last, but certainly not least, VICEDA partner that I would like to introduce is Barry. He's the manager at Economic Development Cowichan with the Cowichan Valley Regional District. Barry, over to you.
Thank you, Georgia, and good to see everyone today. As mentioned, I'm Barry Reardon, manager with Economic Development Cowichan with the Cowichan Valley Regional District. It's a regional service. And I'm joining you from the traditional unceded territories of the Cowichan, Malahat, Subasat, Halalt, Penelkut, Dominus, Liaxin, Haucachin, Dididat, and Pachidat peoples. In the work that we do, a key lens, how we approach our work, is how to respond to climate change and to look to be a collaborative ally of Indigenous people in advancing meaningful reconciliation. For me, this project speaks deeply to both of these lenses in the work that we look to undertake. While not speaking for Indigenous peoples, I do feel that this approach, more of a circular economy, can bring us in closer alignment with Indigenous worldview. So I celebrate that opportunity for us to do that. For me, this initiative stemmed from some early conversations. I started in this role in 2019, and I saw the work that Synergy was doing with the circular economy incubator program. And I decided I was in Victoria one day to try to have lunch with Jill Doucette. And we had some conversations on how we can advance this conversation within Couch, and ended up hosting a few webinars through the pandemic, or maybe just before it, on circular economy to introduce that concept. And for me, I felt I've had a deep interest in that kind of circular economy, systems thinking approach, biomimicry, all the stuff for past close to 20 years. But I feel now is the time where it's reached kind of a level of collective understanding where we can really have these conversations. And I feel that the regional economy is that right scale for us to be able to support its development. So I'm really glad that we're in that space. Yeah, so the broad recognition for me was that if we are going to actually transition toward the circular economy, then it needs to happen. We need to bring all our existing businesses, or as many of them as possible, to this new realm, this new way of doing business. We can't just create new businesses. Creative disruption and Schumpeterian growth is all part of it, but encouraging and supporting and facilitating existing businesses to make that shift with us is a kind of key part of that. And I felt there was an opportunity to explore how we could do that incrementally. And so I pitched this when VICEDA members were together. I pitched proposing to do something like this with the VICEDA members and as a next potential project. And I was very glad to hear strong interest. And so we approached Synergy to see if it aligned with their potential work plans, and it did. And they have been such amazing partners in making this a really easy process for VICEDA to be part of and for the businesses to be part of. We heard from the key thing that got to me was when we were exploring this and going into businesses as this opportunity, was hearing back, oh, finally government gets it. They understand, like, we want to go this direction. Regulation is not the answer. It's how do we make it as easy as possible for everyone to make this shift. And so I feel this program really speaks to that. And yeah, so that's a little bit kind of what inspired me. And then I feel, yeah, although this has been small and incremental in terms of the total business numbers within the region, I feel it's a really important first step. And I feel it's been really successful so far for the businesses that have participated. So I have great confidence with the partnership between Synergy and VICEDA and local communities in really making this something that we can be known for on the Vancouver Island and coast, to then attract the businesses, investment in this area from existing businesses and international businesses to really make us part of the leading edge towards the shift towards a circular economy. And we are working on some phase 2 parts of this project. I don't know if we've spoken to that at all, Georgia, but we're making some progress. And I think there's big opportunities for us to expand now, given this very strong base that we've provided to move forward with how else we can adopt circular principles. So I'll leave it there, and thank you again, Georgia and Jill and team at Synergy and VICEDA for Synergy for being amazing to work with, and Synergy, our VICEDA partners, for being so innovative and forward-looking and aligning all our principles together to work on this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barry. Thank you for really spearheading this program and bringing it forward. It's been such a pleasure to get to work with the whole VICEDA network on this. And I really just wanted to draw back to your comment of saying, yes, we need innovative entrepreneurship and we need those disruptors, but we also need to ensure that our existing businesses are brought along in this transition. And I think that was one of the things that was so exciting for me about this program, is that opportunity to work with our flourishing business community and ensure that they're brought along in this transition. So thank you for speaking to that as well. And as we wrap up here with our few final comments, I want to just pull my screen back up here. Give me a second as I get situated. A few final key takeaways with this program. So you've probably kind of heard this already through all of the VICEDA members, but the circular economy, really has significant untapped value, and it's a space worth investing in. We've uncovered a variety of circular opportunities for businesses to address their climate impact, reduce waste, and support economic growth. And really, that next logical step is to find ways to support these businesses through funding and implementation. Vancouver Island is a really unique space to advance the circular economy. We import a lot of our goods and we export a lot of our waste. So by localizing manufacturing and waste management, we can really create that economic and supply chain resiliency. Collaboration and partnerships are really vital in facilitating this transition. And as we've all said, seeing the way that all of these EDOs have come together through this network to work to create this program and really support this vibrant circular economy ecosystem on Vancouver Island has been really inspiring. As we've heard today, this collaboration amongst government, SME, and NGOs really plays a crucial role in advancing the circular economy. And we need to ensure that we increase that collaboration across our departments and within our organization so that we're all working towards that common goal. And lastly, businesses were so receptive to the circular opportunities and actively making changes once they got past that trepidation. They want to learn, they want to be leaders in the circular transition, and they're eager to implement those changes, but they just need to know where to start. So that capacity building and knowledge sharing through this program was really crucial in that. As a part of this program, we also developed a business's guide to the circular economy. So it gives an overview of the circular economy, some tangible and innovative business solutions and resources for further learning. So you can check out this new publication. It is on the VICEDA webpage, and I'll put the link in the chat in just a moment here for guidance on integrating circular concepts into a business's operations. It also shares some innovative examples and case studies of participating businesses, and again, providing those resources for further learning. With that, I would like to pass back to Amrit for our final closing remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Georgia. Today's webinar is the final webinar in a series of 4 webinars on this program. The 3 other webinars were on tourism, construction, food and beverage processing. And if you didn't get a chance to be a part of those webinars previously, they are recorded and they are on the VICEDA website. They have great information on the circular economy, as well as amazing businesses that are profiled in those webinars as well. So I really encourage you guys to check those out. And we've been busy, of course, planning for phase 2 of this Circular Accelerator program. We've approached a couple of levels of government to obtain some grant funding. So we're hoping to hear some good news in the near future. And for businesses and communities that are interested in phase 2 of this particular program, please feel free to get in touch with myself or Barry or Warden from CVRD, and our email addresses are on the screen there. You can certainly approach us at any time to do with this particular program and being part of the next phase of this program. And also, I just would really appreciate it if all of you on the call today could help us spread the word about phase 2 of this program through all of your networks. And as Georgia pointed out, we've created a business guide, which is a really valuable resource on the circular economy that you can also share with your business communities as well as through your networks. It's a free resource we've created as part of this pilot program, and I think it will actually help a lot of businesses. And to the local government officials that are on the call today, and to those that may watch this webinar at a later date, I just want to say that you could really help with this program in terms of adopting more sustainable practices through developing partnerships and investment in your community towards a circular economy. And in closing, I just want to say a great big shout out to the 16 businesses that participated in phase or the pilot phase of this particular program. Thank you so much for taking part in this program. We're always here to help you if you have any further questions. Business Aftercare is definitely available. And I also want to thank everyone that's on the call today for taking your time to be with us this morning. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, and thank you.